Have you ever tried to read a page without your glasses on or looked at something out of focus? You can make out the big bold numbers, the headline looks sharp enough, but everything else is fuzzy, out of focus, and you're left squinting, second guessing yourself. That's exactly how retirement planning feels for a lot of people I talk to. The number in the account's clear, you can see the 1.2 million, but the picture of whether you can actually support the life you want, that part's blurry. And in that fuzzy space, that's where the doubt creeps in. Today we're going to take that blurry picture, bring it into focus, and ask the big question. If you're 60 years old, sitting on 1.2 million, can you really afford to retire and spend $10,000 a month? And before we answer, let me warn you, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. There's layers here. And by the end of this video, you'll not only see the math, you'll see the hidden variables. Things like Social Security timing, healthcare costs before Medicare, and how long you can realistically expect that money to last. So stick with me, because one of the biggest surprises comes about 3/4 of the way through when we stress test this plan against real-world risk. So for those of you new here, my name is Kurt Soupy. I'm a CPA and retirement planner for over 25 years. And back in 2004, I co-founded Creative Financial Group. Over the decades, I've worked with thousands of families across the country, many with $500,000, million or more saved, and they all share the same question: is it enough? So let's dig right in. Imagine a couple both age 60 who've worked hard, saved diligently, and built up about 1.2 million across their 401ks, IRAs, and brokerage accounts. They've always lived modestly, raised kids, paid off most of the mortgage, and now they want to start the next chapter. Their dream: retire now and live on about $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year traveling, dining out, and enjoying time with the family. Now on paper, 1.2 million looks like a big number, but here's the catch. When you start pulling money out, paying taxes, covering healthcare before Medicare kicks in, and dealing with inflation, that 1.2 million doesn't stretch as far as you might think. So let's run the numbers. But first, let's add some context with a surprising study. A few years ago, JP Morgan released a study that shocked a lot of people. They looked at different retirement savings and spending patterns across millions of households and found something counterintuitive. Not everyone needed to save 20 to 25% of their income. For many middle-income households, Social Security covers such a large portion of their pre-retirement income that even saving 5 to 10% consistently was enough. But for higher-income households, the one aiming for $10,000 a month or more, Social Security only covers maybe 20 to 30% of their needs. That means their portfolio has a lot more heavy lifting. For our couple with 1.2 million, that's the reality. The portfolio can't just sit there. It has to generate sustainable income for potentially 30 years or more. So let's start with the back of the napkin calculation. 1.2 million with a 4% withdrawal rule suggests about $48,000 a year. Add in Social Security, say $40,000 to $50,000 combined if they claim around full retirement age, and now we're in the ballpark of $90,000 to $100,000 a year. Sounds pretty close, right? But here's the problem. Their actual goal is $120,000 a year after taxes. And remember, withdrawals from pre-tax accounts are taxed as ordinary income. That means their need is really closer to $135,000 a year before tax. So right away we see the gap. On paper it looks close, in reality it's short, and the closer we look, the more those hidden factors matter. Here are some of the hidden variables. Healthcare before age 65. Retiring at 60 means 5 years of covering private health insurance. For many couples, that can run $15,000 to $25,000 per year, depending on subsidies and plan choice. Next is inflation. Even at 3%, $10,000 a month today needs to be more like $14,500 a month 15 years from now. So will their portfolio keep up? Longevity. One spouse lives into their 90s, the other into their 80s. That's 30 plus years of withdrawals. Taxes and withdrawal order. Pulling the wrong way from the wrong accounts can drain the portfolio faster than expected. Each of these can be the difference between retiring with confidence or running out of money in your 70s. When we model this couple's plan through retirement software, here's what we typically see. In some simulations, the money lasts to 90, and others they run out in their 70s. That's uncertainty. It's paralyzing because you don't want your lifestyle dictated by a roll of the dice. So how do we bring confidence back into the plan? That's where the trade-offs come in. Now here are some of the biggest levers they can pull. And notice how each one has the power to shift outcomes dramatically. So the first lever they can pull is adjusting spending. What if instead of $10,000 a month, they scaled back to $9,000? That single change can dramatically improve the long-term sustainability of their plan. But here's the real question: is that lifestyle trade-off worth it? For some couples, it feels like cutting back. For others, it's simply trimming the excess. Number 2, adding part-time income. Even a modest $20,000 a year for a few years can bridge the healthcare gap before Medicare and reduce early withdrawals. Sometimes it's not about working forever, it's just buying yourself some time. Number 3, Social Security timing. Waiting until 67 or even 70 boosts guaranteed income and relieves pressure on the portfolio. That decision alone can be worth tens of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Number 4, asset quality. Chasing higher returns often backfires in retirement, but shifting into higher quality investments can help. I'm often surprised to see portfolios packed with low-ranked, high-fee funds. The fix isn't always more risk. Sometimes it's simply better quality. Number 5, lowering your fees. This one seems obvious, but you'd be shocked how many retirees pay 2% or more in fees. Just reducing costs by even 0.5% can have a 6-figure impact over retirement. Number 6, tax planning. Required minimum distributions and income from retirement accounts are often handled reactively without planning. Retirees can end up paying far more in taxes than necessary. A tax strategy woven into the retirement plan can keep more money working for you and less going to Uncle Sam. I've seen couples with similar numbers make this work, but not without adjustments. One couple retired at age 60 with $1.3 million, but they downsized their home, they freed up some equity, and they cut their expenses. That one move lowered their monthly outflow and gave them a cushion to reinvest. Another couple worked part-time until 65, letting their portfolio grow while covering healthcare from earned income. They also used that window to restructure their investments into higher quality, lower fee funds, a combination that made a huge difference over time. Both ended up living the life they wanted, but through different paths. Let me add just one more story. A couple I worked with had about $1.1 million at 61, and they wanted $9,500 a month. They were nervous. What unlocked the plan for them wasn't saving more, it was actually the timing of their Social Security and paying off their mortgage early. We also built a tax strategy that smoothed out their required minimum distributions so they weren't hit with the big tax bills later in retirement. Once we modeled those shifts, the plan went from shaky to confident. Here's another hidden risk. JP Morgan found that 80% of retirees wait until they're forced to take required minimum distributions before touching their IRAs. That often leads to large tax bills later in retirement. When withdrawals stack on top of Social Security and other income, that's why a proactive withdrawal strategy, sometimes even taking money out earlier, can save you in the long run. Another insight from JP Morgan. Retirees are 85% more likely to pass away with more money than they started retirement with than they are to run out. What does that mean? Most people actually underspend because of fear. They never take the vacations, never upgrade the lifestyle, and end up leaving behind more money than they ever intended. That's a missed opportunity to fully enjoy your healthiest years. Studies show that retirement spending doesn't rise evenly with inflation every year. Instead, it follows more of a smile curve. Higher early on when you're active, lower in the middle years, and then a rise again later due to healthcare. Accounting for this curve can add realism to your plan and often show you how to spend more in your early years without putting your long-term security at risk. Numbers are important, but emotions drive decisions. Couples often sit in my office and tell me they feel stuck between two fears: the fear of retiring too early and running out of money, and the fear of working too long and missing their best years. It's not just math, it's about peace of mind. That's why clarity is so powerful. When you see a plan mapped out, you can release the anxiety and focus on retirement is supposed to be about freedom, purpose, enjoying the people you love. So can our 60-year-old couple with $1.2 million retire today and spend $10,000 a month? The honest answer is not comfortably, not without adjustments. They're close, but close isn't the same thing as confident, and retirement isn't about guessing, it's about clarity. The good news is that with a plan, one that factors in healthcare, inflation, Social Security timing, and a realistic spending path, they can absolutely build the retirement they want. But without clarity, they risk working too long or worse, retiring too early and running out of money. So if you're watching this video right now wondering, am I close? Can I retire and spend what I want? Don't guess. Click on the first link in the description, book your free retirement readiness call, and let's bring your numbers into focus. Together we'll map out whether your savings, Social Security, and lifestyle actually line up, or whether you need to make a few adjustments. Because at the end of the day, retirement confidence doesn't come from hitting a magic number. It comes from knowing how your money turns into income you can count on year after year. I'm Kurt Soupy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.